A little bit about what you took out of last year and what, as you get a little deeper into the season or even early, that you're going to tell these kids, some of the new kids, about keeping your foot on the gas so that you don't run into the situation that you did last year where you got to play playoff hockey starting in February.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously, a pretty crazy scenario, but, I think if you look at the parity in our league nowadays, it's not necessarily one team that runs away with it right from the start. So, I think, hopefully it doesn't come down to the same thing it did last year where you're, the fifth place in the conference is out of the playoffs. That was kind of obviously a wild case, but it's one of those things. These games early on mean something, and that's as you move through October, into December, those games are huge, and they might not seem like it right now, but at the end of the year when maybe you're 1 or 2 points out of the playoff spot, you've played some pretty good hockey. All those points that you maybe missed out on all add up.
Is day one of camp just another day, or is it a little something different, a little more energy?
No, it's good. I thought, obviously it was a good practice today. Troy likes to come off first one, guns a-blazing, I guess you could say. But no, it's good. Lots of us have been in camp here. I guess this would be day 10 or 11. After we come back from Washington. So, we've been working hard for the last 2 weeks. So it's good. We got a day off and back at it today.
What do you think the makeup? I mean, it's hard. There's a big sorting process still to be done. Is there any sense of how this will differ from last year at this point, or not?
Yeah, that is tough. I guess we've said the last 2 years we've got a lot of young guys that are now old guys, and I don't mean old guys, but veterans in the game. And we said it a little bit last year where those 7 guys that were rookies coming in, we went right to the Calder Cup Finals. So now those guys are now on the end of their entry-level contracts, which kind of seems pretty crazy, but those guys are now into their 3rd year, and not only for the team, but those are big years for you as a player, and so depending on what happens, with guys coming down and maybe going back up or whatever that is, it's I guess maybe we'll talk again in December, but the first month of the season is always kind of hit and miss with guys coming up and down, and Washington trying to figure out what they want to do here too. So.
Early in your career and in every player's career, there's so much of a learning curve. What stage of or what learning do you do now at this stage in your career, where you've seen a lot, but you're still on the younger side?
Yeah, I guess I like to still refer to myself as a younger guy. I'm in my 7th year here in Hershey, but I was lucky that when I was in my earlier years that I had good leadership, and so for myself, if I can help those younger guys out, whether it's figuring out stuff off the ice, getting apartments, getting cars set up, whatever that kind of stuff is, those are all big things that I was able to kind of lean on older guys with off the ice, and then on the ice, it's one of those things that those guys play, depending on where they're coming from, college or major junior, a lot less games. So those are huge learning steps for those younger kids coming in. So I think if myself or Borky, if those kind of guys can help out, that's huge for those younger kids.
Is the off-ice stuff almost more of your job than some of the on-ice stuff?
Yeah, I think for myself, I've always, ever since I've been coming in, or even in junior, I've always tried to lead, kind of on how I play. And, there's obviously times that, you're going to have to step up and say something, or maybe you don't say anything, maybe you let somebody else talk. And but I've always tried to speak with, how I play and coming out and playing hard every night. And, I think some of it that's a tough thing for some of those kids coming out of junior hockey where you have a billet and, you come home from the rink and dinner's on the table. Those are big learning steps for kids to make. And a guy like Connor Hobbs, who was actually in Regina when I was kind of leaving, those are tough things as a kid coming into pro hockey. So, for sure, that's definitely something that I try and help out with.
If a young kid came to you and said, how do you define a good pro? What is a good pro in your eyes?
A good pro is just coming to the rink and wanting to work. I think if you went around the league and you asked, coaches anywhere, there's very few coaches that don't like somebody that works hard. And, you know, you can do whatever you want to do off the ice. That's, you know, that's, I think, the biggest separation from, you know, like a junior hockey kid coming into the pro game. And, you know, you do you off the ice, but if you're not going to do you on the ice, that's where you have a problem. And, you know, I always tell the guys, like, you know, be smart. And you know, Hershey's a small town, and, you know, it's one of those things that things get around. So be smart with it. And, you know, there's definitely times you're still young and you're still, you know, you want to have some fun, but, you know, good pros come to the rink and want to work. And, you know, I think there's very few coaches that, or very few players even, that don't have success, you know, when they don't want to work. So.